for me to be sitting amongst all on my left, almost all on my left, who are my customers, who I work with on a daily basis and work through the various challenges and, the mission of the process of transformation, which is really the essence of e-governance. As JSAT in the morning very rightly said, you have to take the E out of the governance and really focus on governance. And what we are all trying to do here together as a team in India is to really bring about transformation through IT enablement of governance. In each of these instances, whether it was Krishnan at the end of the panel here in customs, whether it was Mr. Ravi Saxena through all the pioneering initiatives in Gujarat, which has taken Gujarat to a 14% GDP growth state in the country, whether it is some of the pioneering work that we are doing with Kerala, or more recently, whether the work that we've done with Muktesh Pardesi, who's on my left in the passport program. In each of these initiatives, the focus has really been on transformation. That is, you have to have measurable, defined outcome differentiators between the as-is as you get into an IT program and the to-be once the program finishes. And if you're not in a position to measure that outcome and predict and plan that you are going to be improved by N positions before and after, it's not really worth going into an IT program. But today we are here to talk about the way forward. The way forward in India, we are 35 states. If you look at and analyze all the states, each state is in a different stage of maturity in terms of governance transformation through IT. Yet the dichotomy is that IT presents an opportunity for a common set of practices and standards to be deployed across the country or states in terms of practices. And yet, English is a very funny language. You know, the first 3 digits of e-governance, if you spell it out, the first 3 digits or the words translates to ego. E-G-O, the first 3 words of e-governance. So we are in this dilemma of egoistic situation of everybody wanting to say, I did it, within inverted commas, and yet IT brings an opportunity to really bring everybody in the country at par through a common set of practices and processes, and yet we are so far away from there. So I think that is one of the big challenges. And again, I come back to JSAT in the morning. We were having a discussion. J. Satyanarayana, as all of you know, and I know him as JSAT, I call him JSAT in the parlance of having worked with him for the last 10 years, he talked about that, is it possible for us to really take the good practices of Andhra Pradesh in the form of Me Seva and offer it to the various states, hosting it out of here, leveraging the technology of cloud, not having to reinvent the wheel, not having to spend all the time that Andhra Pradesh has spent to reach where they have reached today? And is it possible for us to offer these functionalities to some of the, let's say, northeastern states, who suddenly can have an opportunity to come at par with Andhra Pradesh in terms of some of those service levels of those citizen services? So this is what I think the IT as a technology presents to India as an opportunity. And this, I think, predominantly should be, from the 8th edition of E-India onwards, the priority for us is to emulate best practices, not get into the ego of e-governance and say that, no, I'm going to do it my way. After all, how different is your way? How different is governance from Andhra Pradesh to Karnataka, to Tamil Nadu, to Delhi, to Punjab? Yes, there could be some nuances which could be different because, you know, the southern states were ruled primarily through practices of the presidency or the residency, I think, as you called it in the south, whereas the northern states had a predominant Mughal and a British practice prevalent in administration. But at the end of it, I mean, how much is the delta? How different is it to get a caste certificate in UP versus to get a caste certificate in Karnataka. Somebody has to sit down and do this analysis and weigh that against the opportunity that IT presents to everyone as an opportunity to get equal in terms of service levels of citizen services. And that is what I think should be predominantly amongst the minds of the IT leadership of all our state governments, is to leverage IT rather than reinvent IT. Use the best practices of what states have gone through the process of struggle to achieve and simply emulate them, cutting out the ego from e-governance. I think that's definitely should be a part of the way forward as we see it. Again, if you look at the dichotomy of India, we are soon going to be a $100 billion IT exporting nation. $100 billion of IT that others in the rest of the world do from India.